Welcome students. Today we will discuss some important points about population education. We will firstly try to understand the concept of population. Then we will know the concept of population education. Then after that we will try to understand the nature of population education, and finally what are the objectives of population education. As we know that population is the summation of all living organisms of the same group or species which live in the same geographical area and have capability of interbreeding. For example, population of humans, population of honeybees. In earlier years, there was a quite high decrease in this population due to high mortality. This factor got increased due to other factors like famines, accidents, illnesses, infections, and war, and therefore the relatively high fertility rates were essential for species survival. In spite of the relatively high fertility rate, it took all the time from evolution of mankind to the middle of the 19th century for the global population to reach 1 billion. The 20th century witnessed an unparalleled rapid improvement in health care technologies and access to health care all over the world. As a result, there was a steep fall in the mortality and steep increase in the longevity. The population realized these changes and took steps to reduce the fertility, but the decline in the fertility was not so steep. As a result, the global population has undergone a fourfold increase in 100 years and has reached to 6 billion. So, there arises a problem of population explosion. Then, in order to overcome this problem, government started various programs to control this explosion and to aware the people. They found education to be the best means. This gave rise to a new subject called population education. Solon Wayland 1968 was the pioneer in the field. It was after the World Population Conference in the Bucharest in 1974 that population education became evident. Weatherman suggested a definition of population education. Population education may be defined as an educational process which assists a person to learn the probable causes and consequences of population phenomena for themselves and their communities, and to define for themselves and their communities the nature of problems associated with the population processes and characteristics, and to assess the possible effective means by which society as a whole and he as an individual can respond to the influences of these processes in order to enhance the quality of life now and in future. According to UNESCO, population education is an educational program which provides for a study of population situation in a family, community, nation, and world with the purpose of developing in the students rational and responsible attitudes and behavior towards coping with the situation. UNESCO has also defined population education in the following lines. Population education is the process by which the student investigates and explores the nature and meaning of population characteristics, the causes of population change, and consequences for these processes, characteristics, and changes for himself, his family, for society, and for the world. According to the NCERT, population educational studies the phenomenon of population growth as a worldwide phenomenon to be understood by all persons for taking decisions about family size and natural population politics. World Population Control Society has defined the population education as the teaching and learning of reliable knowledge about the ways of inquiring into the nature of human population and the natural and human consequences of population changes in the world. Population Reference Bureau has defined population education as a means of informing students about the causes and consequences of population growth and developing in them an awareness of the relationship between population growth and national development. Frank Jimin defined the population education is an educational program which throws light on both quantitative and qualitative aspects of population. Lorimer and Zentham Jacob has defined the population education as a properly devised study of increasing population and the problems created by the increase of population. So, in short, population education means disseminating knowledge and education regarding the disadvantages of rapidly increasing population, appreciating the relationships between the quality of life for a family and its size, gaining knowledge for the advancements of basic human rights, family and community welfare, understanding the achievements of a balance between population resources, the environment and attaining knowledge for understanding of a higher standard and quality of life. Further, by population education, we mean to gather information and statistics regarding the growth of population so that the nation is not kept in dark about the dangers that may rise due to the rapid population explosion. In order to overcome the dangers of population explosion, it is in the review of population education to bring about the ways to overcome these dangers of conducting conferences, seminars, meetings, whether local, national or international, spread of the literature and taking resort to educational institutions, press and other media, and also taking help from community welfare centers, social welfare organizations and other allied agencies. Now we will discuss the nature of population education. Nature of population education can be derived in the form of following characteristics of population education. Population education as an educational program. It says that population education is a population program to achieve aims and objectives like enabling citizens to deal with problems of population situations at different levels, at family level, at community level, national level, and at the world level. Population education as a process. UNESCO also defines it as a process to be followed by learners to investigate and explore population aspects like meaning, nature, characteristics, causes of population change. Activities may be based upon family of the learners, the social group of world-based. Population education as teaching and learning of human population aspects. World Population Control Society defines population education as teaching and learning various aspects of population with specific reference to the world. Population education for correct decisions on family size. NCERT has taken population education as school subject for developing understanding among Indian learners about population phenomenon and enabling them to take correct decisions about family size. Population education as a means of informing students about causes and consequences of population growth. In this, Population Reference Bureau has taken population education as a means to develop awareness among learners about the causes and the consequences of population growth. The understanding of the relationship between population growth and national development is also developed among learners through various teaching and learning activities. Next, population education as the mathematical study of human population. Bogue has attached aspects on various data on human population. More emphasis has been given to fertility, mortality and migration. Need and importance of population education. The need and importance of population education is obvious. How? As it is very important for society to keep a check on population. As population is the liability of the society, the requirements of food, clothing, shelter, medicine, etc. all arises. Moreover, a high birth rate creates a large number of dependent children per adult. Economically speaking, the underdeveloped countries suffer a considerable loss of investment, material, immaterial in upbringing and educational efforts in respect of a substantial number of young people who never reach the prime age. Even if the amount invested per capita is below the equivalent of the cost of education, clothing and food customary in West countries, the outlay lost in the aggregate is staggering. Thus, we realize the need and importance of population education, which will help in due course of time to arrest the rapid growth in population. Otherwise, the increase in the population acts as the most fundamental obstacle to economic development in overpopulated poor economics. It puts a heavy pressure on natural resources and thus retards the economic growth. It eats up much of the additional income that on the country might generate. It results in serious food shortages. It adds more unproductive population to the country. It further aggregates unemployment. It hampers the growth of the capital formation. Since an increase in the population reduces per capita income and lowers the standard of living of the masses, it makes the people less efficient. People cannot be physically fit and mentally alert if they are not provided with the basic necessities of life. As inefficiency creeps in, productivity is reduced, thereby hampering the development of an economy. Need and importance of population education can be clearly explained by the following points. To make education system more relevant by including population education in the curriculum. Professor Burleson from Harvard University has pointed out the need and importance of population education for making our educational program more relevant by including aspects of population with specific aims and objectives. To increase knowledge and understanding and awareness about population to cope with the life problems. Population education is important for the people to deal with problems of life through the applications of various aspects of population in varied situations of life. To achieve specific aims and objectives. Professor S.R. Wayland emphasized that population education as a subject in schools, colleges, universities is important to achieve the following aims of population education. First aim being faith in small family norms. Control over the size is possible. Adopt the principle of late marriage. Accept such programs and plans that are for improving health and economy. To improve of social and economic status. The social and economic status of the modern society can be improved by applying basics of population aspects. Next, to improve community health. Community health can be improved through the development of understanding about various aspects of population studies. Another one being to improve standards of living. Standards of living can be improved in the case people are enabled to use information on population studies effectively. We may conclude by saying that need and importance of population education is clear and urgent. If the rapid increase in the population is not arrested, we will never be able to grow and develop. We will always be underdeveloped because a rapidly increased population aggravates the food problems, worsens the unemployment situations, reduces the per capita income, increases the population of the unproductive people, hampers capital formation, and makes the people inefficient. Therefore, an urgent need and importance of proper system of planned population education is evident. An all-out effort has to be made to introduce population education in the educational institutions and should be spread through organized government agencies in order to bring the awareness of population policies, programs, and need and importance of arresting the rapid growth rate of the population and to inculcate in the minds of the people the proper and healthy behavioral attitudes towards small families and their advantages. The need and importance of population education is also felt in order to develop proper attitudes and values for small family norms and to impart relevant information regarding the quality of the human sources, and population education should also lay a focus on population dynamics and the means for providing better quality of environment and the evil consequences of increasing population on environment. The need and importance of population education is also that in the villages it is difficult to measure the population trends. The education for population awareness will emphasize the proper registration of births, deaths of the people. Population education is also needed and its importance is felt in order to change the attitudes towards the welfare of the nation and the world to realize that the human behavior has a direct influence on social structure, social change, to understand the significance of environmental harmony, to understand the far-reaching consequences of population density, rapid growth to oneself and one's environment. The need and importance of population education for our school youth. The need of population education for our school youth has been put forward by Dr. A.K. Sen as under. The youth are receptive, they don't have any fixed attitude and are susceptible to changes and adjustments. Hence, a program like the population education has a reasonably good chance for success. The out of the school youth constitutes a sizable percentage of our population and they add to the eligible couple groups every year. Their reproductive behavior in the married life would be crucial to control of population growth. Population education to the youths would be to supplement the efforts to family planning. This group of population has not been covered under any program of population education or family planning. Family planning program tackles the married individuals. Family planning programs could be successful when it is supported by the community. Population education would help the community in building up a positive attitude to the family planning. Population education to the out of school youth would enlighten the parents who would supplement and complement the efforts of school imparting population education to the school going children. Now, regarding the objectives of population education. The objectives of population education is to bring about the basic awareness among the people about problems of population and favorable attitudes towards small family size, about the consequences of the population increase without any check on the personal life of an individual and socio-economic life of country as a whole. This can be emphasized through the wide sharing of responsibility, through the participation in the processes of bringing awareness of population education by the organizations representing all sections of opinions as well as universities and educational institutions and voluntary social service agencies. An increase in population no doubt places a large burden on a developing economy like India. Population increase limits the extent to which living standards can be raised. On the other hand, this increase leads to the burden to be shared widely, calling for the sacrifice by every section of the community. The objectives of population education should be quick economic development, significant reduction in the birth rates, which is more fundamental and important than the first one. The objective of the population education should not aim only at controlling the rate of multiplication, but it should also include the improvement of the quality of population as well. It will therefore be necessary to disseminate the knowledge of the eugenics to improve the racial stock. The present high death rate results in such colossal wastage of human energy that concerned drive through proper population education must be made to bring it down. This fall in the death rate tends in the long run to stabilize population rather than increase it. So there is a need of proper policy in this connection in general and also in particular for India, which must cover broadly the death rates, birth rates, quality control. This in addition to the ambitious programs for development planning in India. Different agencies have given different objectives of population education. The objectives of population education as given by Professor T.S. Mehta, a UNESCO expert, are the understanding of some concepts and processes about population, the understanding of the rapid growth of population and its causes, the understanding of the influence of the population on the various aspects of human life, cultural, social, political and economic, the understanding of evil effects of population on the environment, the close interaction of population growth and development processes and programs for raising standards of living of people, the understanding of biological factors of reproduction, the understanding of science and medicinal advancements enabling to get increasing control over families and untimely death and unbalance created between death rate and birth rate. So, finally, the Government of India in 1971 has listed the following objectives of population education. First one being basic understanding of population dynamics including the growth rate and its determinants, structure of the population in the country in context of the world population, relationships between population growth and socio-economic development. Second, bringing about the behavioral changes in health knowledge, health attitudes and health practices. The ultimate goal should be to develop and maintain physical, mental, environmental and family health at all levels. The degree of knowledge, attitudes and practice should be graded and varied according to the age groups of school-going children. Understanding the government's family planning programs in relation to the country needs and development of responsible attitudes to the solution. Another one, understanding the risk involved for the mother and child. Appreciation of the small families as a setting in which a high quality of life for each person is more likely to be attained. Appreciation of the significance of population characteristics for the present and future quality of life, including economic development and the attainment of high level of health, education, housing, diet and other amenities of life. Realization that size of family can be easily planned for benefit of individual families and that large families are not necessary in the present day development. Objectives of the population education as per NCERT. As per the National Council of Education Research and Training, which conducted a workshop in 1970, the following objectives of population education in India were recommended. First, the students should be made aware of the ill effects of rapid increase of population on the economic, social, cultural and political life of the individual, the family, the community, the nation and the world. The most important problem which the world is facing today is the problem of population explosion. Therefore, it becomes necessary to impart the knowledge of the dynamics of population growth and its causes. It is also necessary to develop in the minds of the student a favorable attitude for controlling population growth. The student should be told about the relationship between the size of the family and the standard of living, and also about the difficulties faced by the large families with lower income in order to reinforce their opinion regarding the desirability of having small families. Students, we may conclude our topic by saying that population is increasing at an enormous rate in the world. There is an urgent need to control this population explosion. There are several means for overcoming this problem, but the main one is the education. By educating the people regarding the ill effects of the unwanted population growth through population education, one can control this massive problem to a great extent. Furthermore, basic awareness of the growing population is to be given to the young boys and girls in schools and colleges with a view to protecting modern civilization and culture. This was all about the population education. Hope you have understood.